guys, welcome back to Shakedown Paranormal Podcast with your hosts.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Kirsten. We have a special guest here with us. We know him personally, unfortunately. It's been, how many months now?
Just about 9-10 months at this point.
Yeah, 9 or 10 months. We're going to dive into who he is after these beginning intros. But for now, this is Bayan.
Hello. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, this recording is October 3rd, and I was hired on January 2nd, so it has been exactly 10 months and a day since I've been hired. So, wow. So
Almost a year.
Big 10, double digits.
Nice.
Alrighty guys, we're going to start off by letting you in on some change, unfortunately.
Do you want to do that now?
We're really sad
Okay.
about it.
We're going to change the name of the podcast. So we're going from Shakedown Paranormal Podcast to Shakedown First Responder Podcast.
We want to reach more clientele, not just specified into the paranormal aspect of things, but we would like to reach a broader spectrum in the first responder field, and it doesn't need to just be specified into one specific genre. We're hoping that this will reach further into like firefighter community, the police community, the medical community, just generalized community, even like the military, because with his background and some of the people that will be on this podcast, we're just interested in expanding that way.
Yeah, definitely. I think just covering paranormal stuff, I think, was just holding us down. But we're still, that's what I'm super into, so.
We're really looking to make things better.
Yeah,
And get more
I'm still going to
feedback.
ask.
Right,
Still going to ask.
It's an interesting catalyst to get into other topics as well. Just in and of itself. I feel like a lot of people have their own personal experiences with things, and they can sort of relate that to other stories and people. That's how we share information at the end of the day, stories. So.
True that.
We definitely like the
True
weird
that.
shit, so
Yeah.
we want to talk about the weird shit.
The cooler the stories are, the better the information spreads,
Absolutely. So, from now on, this is Shakedown First Responder Podcast.
Yeah.
Our contact information has obviously changed.
Yeah, our email is going to be shakedownfirstresponder@proton.me. And I haven't yet, but I'm going to change right after this recording. Change to YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, TikTok. That's where you can find us at. But yeah, if you have any stories you want to get out to us, if you want to come on the show, or you want us to just read something that you got
Anonymously.
anonymously or not anonymously, if you.
It doesn't even have to be your story.
Yeah.
It could be somebody's story that you know, if they're open and fine with it being shared.
Yeah, I want to try to do like a 9/11 one,
Mm-hmm.
because I think that would be pretty rad.
Something that everyone can relate to.
But yeah, any kind of story that you guys have or you want to be on the show, just use the email and try to catch us at shakedownfirstresponder@proton.me.
We really just want to get a understanding for the community to understand what we do on a regular basis or on a daily, whether that's in corrections, whether that's in police, or if it's in firefighters or EMS, medical. It could be a teacher. We just want the community to see what it's like on the other side of things, rather than the media displaying something that isn't very clear.
Yeah, or negative in every single way.
Right. So
Yeah.
please contact us. We are looking to schedule as far out as, I would say, the next 4 months will be good. So just contact us and let us know if you guys are interested in us starting like a little merch store. Obviously, we just started, so we're not big, but I think it would be pretty cool for us to have like t-shirts and hats
Yeah. I've got
or
some
stickers.
pretty fucking cool designs that would be, yeah, definitely want to get some shirts made.
It wouldn't be as expensive as some of those other brands out there, obviously, since we're starting pretty
Swag store.
swag store. So,
But hey, the one thing we're still not going to talk about is fucking politics. So,
yeah, that's never gonna be a topic
That's
of
not happening.
conversation. So,
Because I really don't want to get in that shit.
That sounds a little
just avoid us with all of
yeah.
you.
a little personal there. People
Hey,
been
guys,
putting
how
in
about
comments already
Person running
about.
for president.
So we're gonna dive into this episode
What do you think about abortion?
Jesus
with
Christ.
Did You Know Facts. According to thecarrygroup.com, it's estimated that 38% of corrections staff leave within the first year and almost 50% leave within the first 5 years of employment.
Wow.
What are your thoughts on this, Ben? Considering you haven't even hit your year yet.
Right.
You still got time to leave.
Yeah.
Why do you say it like that? It is interesting. I think one of the most interesting things about corrections as a career, and really about any sort of human service type job, first responder type job, is directly in the name, human services. It's all about people, and people are extremely different from one another and unpredictable, I would say. And especially when you're in a job like corrections, you're seeing a lot of people who, for one reason or another, have bad experiences and, don't necessarily respect the humanity of other people, or, want to do whatever they can to, to take advantage of you in certain ways. It doesn't happen all the time, obviously. There are a lot of dudes who just want to do their time and get out, but it's certainly a job where you have to be able to stay on your toes and be vigilant. And human beings are,
They're still human beings.
right. I mean, they're the most intelligent creatures in the universe, and so if they're going to try to want to manipulate you or get one over on you in some way, they're going to do it, and they're going to find a way to. And if you don't have, I don't know, a purpose for going there, I think that's the main reason is purpose. Then you're probably going to get burned out. And I'm not saying that people who quit necessarily are like, don't have any purpose in their lives or are cowards. That's not at all what I'm getting into. But
Right.
it's just not something that a lot of people want to experience every day.
It's
You know what
not
I mean?
something like that simple.
Right.
You're gonna have bad days.
You could be doing so many other things, rather than worrying about what's going on in there. Because at the end of the day, the point of the job is to sort of just be in the background so people don't have to notice it or deal with it. You know what I mean? So choosing to be the person who, rather than, like general society, at least the goal for general society to not worry about, people being violent or stealing from them or, committing crimes, pulling yourself away from that.
We're like the sponge that absorbs everything, so nobody's
Right.
seen.
Exactly. I mean, putting yourself in that situation is something that, a lot of people probably don't want to get into, which, I mean, fair enough, because it does suck.
Yeah.
But,
It does take a special type of mental strength.
Yeah, you're catching people at their
They're worst.
very worst.
Right.
I mean, especially when they first come in. We're not in a prison or in a jail.
Yeah.
So like, especially like down in booking, like when they first come in, I mean that's for, I would hope for most.
That's a
For
rock
some
bottom.
of them, it's a fucking revolving door, but
Yeah.
for most people, it's like this is the worst experience of
It's
my
interesting.
entire life.
Right, I
It's
mean,
either
I've
I
seen-
fucking shape up or I'm
Right.
fucked.
I've seen multiple dudes come in on like their first day, and even in their first week, and they're just, I mean, they're not doing great, you know. And then eventually, they're just totally different people. Whether that's from, you know, getting over their drug detox or what have you, or just the mental strain of it. You know, it's like they're totally different people. I mean, when they come in, they're irritated. They, you know, try to become agitated at everything you say. You know, especially during like the med intakes. I mean, you try to help them out. You know, ask them, hey, what medications do you need? Let's get your vitals, all that stuff, and they just want to cause problems with everything. They want to, you know, try to, you know, not necessarily fight you, like physically, at least not yet in my experience, but.
It's the unknown. It's the unknown factor.
Right, and it's always unpredictable, right? Yeah,
pulls the fear out of everybody.
Mm-hmm. And so.
Hold on, we didn't even really introduce you.
No, we didn't. This is the did you know facts.
Yeah, that's all right.
And we dive in. I'm sorry, guys.
I'm way off.
He's been here this morning, but he's not been here this morning. So
This is the only introduction.
this is the Shakedown First Responder podcast with your hosts.
Human philosophy. We're getting into it. That's my introduction.
This is Mike. I'm Kirsten, and this is Bayan.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for joining, Mike.
Thanks. I'm here now.
Do you want to do like background introduction? Is that what you mean, or?
So let's dive into this, Bayan. How
Yeah.
long have you been in corrections?
About 10 months.
What made you decide to come to Carroll County? For you that don't know, we have worked with Bayan on squad now for 10 months.
Almost exactly.
It's been a wonderful ride.
Well, that's nice.
So what made you choose law enforcement?
So, I hope it's kind of an interesting story. And to be honest, it's funny that you guys chose this podcast and changed the name, because depending on your interpretation of things, it can be a bit paranormal. You know what I mean? So, quick bullet points right off the bat. Raised Roman Catholic, was privileged enough to go to a private Catholic school, raised there. Couldn't do private school for high school, which was totally fine. I had a lot of great experiences there as well. But, you know, you fall into that, like, teenager, like, you know, sophomore year of, like, nothing matters, man. I got no direction in life, yada, yada. I had a lot of anxiety, specifically about interactions with people. I would just overanalyze every single thing, every word, you know, everything somebody said to me. And it wasn't particularly healthy at the time. And I remember one day I was in, specifically one day I was in the media center for lunch instead of the cafeteria, because I never actually ate food. I was just, would just be on my phone, watch YouTube, whatever.
Nerd.
Yeah, be like super depressed, like all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Watch videos about depressing stuff and feel sad for myself all the time. And
You're an emo kid.
not emo, no, but I don't know. It's like I wanted to be, but thankfully because of my upbringing, I didn't quite get to that point. Thankfully. And I was sitting in the media center chilling, and I was just thinking, like, a thought came into my mind about the future and what the heck I was going to do. Because at this point it was halfway between sophomore year and I mean, I had to start making choices, you know what I mean, whether I wanted to, you know, go into college. I mean, that was still open to me. A lot of my buddies already knew they were going into college. A lot of them
When you were a
didn't.
sophomore in high school?
Honestly, yeah. I mean, a lot of
That's
people
crazy.
just wanted to jump into it. They already knew.
Jesus.
You know, I mean, it is a big investment, so it's something that you really should plan for ahead, to be honest. But and most of them, like, their parents are paying for it anyways, so that's kind of set for them. You know what I mean? It means that they get some stability going forward into their adult life, which is fine. I mean, that's how plenty of people do it. But all I really knew is that I didn't want to do college. So that kind of left me like, in a spot, and going deeper into like this, there's nothing, I have no idea, what I want to do. And as I'm going into this rabbit hole, I don't want to describe it as like I hear, because it was in my own mind, but I heard this voice and it just said, "What are you doing?" Like, for now and in the future, basically, is how I interpreted it. And for me, growing up, obviously Roman Catholic, so I'm like, this is straight up Jesus talking to me. You know what I mean? And I start to really think about it. It was very simple. That's all it was. It was just, whether it was my own mind thinking about it or not, it was just like, what am I doing? What am I doing for the future? And I kind of realized two sort of possibilities for myself, and it was one of continuing down the road I was on, just kind of coasting, you know what I mean? Like,
The booze, the liquor, the women, the drugs.
I guess probably nothing like that. I mean, at the end of the day, I wasn't into any of that stuff. But just life without a purpose, and the other possibility was just working my entire life to, serve anything except for my own personal gain, and to just help other people, and to sort of serve a higher purpose, which for me is obviously,
Working in human services.
right, working in human services, but to an extent of that, carrying on the, I guess, teachings of Jesus and what he, sort of how he acted in his life. And I don't mean to, bore anybody with religious stuff, because I know that might turn some people off, but just for me personally, that's how I interpret it. And so that kind of has shaped my life since then. Hello, cat. Way to ruin the moment here.
Sorry.
And I know it's a bit unorthodox in, I guess, today's world, and especially to be so brazen about it, but that's really how I shape my life. Every day I come into work, that's what I focus on, is just helping people, and,
You have to know you for the short amount of time that I've known you, and to hear you say all those things. You have such a confidence, and you there's no doubt in any choice that you do. It's natural for you.
Well, because I think it's because I know that whatever I do,
You have incredible communication skills, and you're only getting better.
Well, and that's the ironic part, to circle back. The funny thing is that I've sort of gained that skill from being so anxious. In high school, I would always just analyze every last little thing that people said to me, whatever. And when I finally broke out of that, you know what I mean? And it didn't happen immediately, but I just realized, as long as I'm doing what I know is right, why do I care what other people say or think? But that sort of obsession with human interaction kind of also helped me to talk to people better, ironically, because now I am able to sort of, at least I hope,
naturally,
fairly accurately, discern, people's motives, intentions, and things like that, and try to understand what they want and are trying to tell me, because a lot of the time, especially with inmates, they try to tell you a lot of things that they don't explicitly say.
without the verbal cues.
Right,
The
exactly.
non-verbal cues.
So, and you have to be aware of that too. But I don't know. I still got to get better at it. But
That only comes with time and age.
yeah.
I think
Young
it's kind
man.
of it's for some people it's just natural. For other people, you got to work at it. So for me, I had to work at it because
Yeah.
my verbal judo with talking to people was not good, like at all. Especially coming out of being an infantryman in the Army.
Yeah.
And, you know, talking to guys like, you know, the new guys like they're dog shit. Making them do push-ups if they don't listen to you. And then going into a jail environment where you can't do that.
It's all the atmosphere you're around.
Yeah, so it's using your voice to not only get them to do what you need them to do, but you know, in a calm and peaceful manner,
Yeah.
without
Relate
anybody
to that
getting hurt.
humanity.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, I mean, one of my favorite like movie lines ever, scenes ever, and it's not even like my favorite movie. It's not even like a great movie, I would say. Is in Roadhouse, and the main character, he's teaching all of his employees, because he was put in charge of this bar, and there are all these bar fights and everything. If you don't know the movie Roadhouse,
Please God, tell me you're talking about the first one.
yeah,
Please.
yeah, the original, yeah.
Okay, good.
The first half is like really good. The last half is a little weird. So sorry, super Roadhouse fans out there. Gonna be honest.
There's spoiler alerts here. He rips the guy's fucking throat out.
Whoa, it's a little strange. I'm gonna be honest. But initially, you know, he gets all these guys together, and they're ready to like start. I mean, you know, roughing it with these dudes. They're like, this guy who's teaching us is super jacked. He can fight so well. He's gonna teach us to kick these dudes' asses. You know what I mean? And one of the biggest lessons he teaches them is like, just be nice. Whatever you do, no matter what happens, if they start coming at you with, you know, threats, insults, yeah, there's a time to use force, but the vast majority of the time, just being nice is gonna stop so many problems. I've had multiple times.
Because you're relating to the fact that we're all human.
Right, they can't help themselves from chilling out. If you just smile, you're like, dude, it's not that big of a deal. Like, calm down. You know what I mean? They'll try to make issues out of things when like they know it's not really an issue. They're just trying to either test you to see how you'll react. You know what I mean? And if you placate to that, start getting angry, you know, you get insulted or whatever. You know, you just jump to being like, oh, get in your cell, you know, for, you know, insulting my mom or something, then it's just gonna, you're giving in to what they want. They're getting into your head, you know. But if you just smile and be like, okay, dude, sure.
That
You
comes
know?
with that mental strength.
Yeah, they can't help themselves. It's like, well, crap, what do I do now? Like, it didn't bother him at all.
So, what was your initial impression when you first walked into the jail? Were you nervous? Were you not really sure what to expect?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I never really even knew that this job kind of existed. I was going for more of a like general law enforcement kind of career in high school. I was accepted into the Career and Tech Center, and I took a class for criminal justice, and it was law enforcement in general, but not just like law enforcement. We also did like disaster relief stuff briefly, and like other federal kind of things. It was a super cool program.
In tech school.
Yeah, Carroll County Career and Tech Center. It wasn't like, again, it wasn't super extensive. You know what I mean? So
It's not like when we were kids and you could do wood shop.
That's what-
you know, they
Mechanic.
do
That's
wood
what I
shop
thought.
stuff there. Yeah, they
Until,
do
like tech school was.
They do HVAC and they do masonry and
Stand.
stuff like that too. So yeah, but they had kind of they had a criminal justice program there as well that I attended. And
That's awesome.
yeah, and one of the coolest parts of it was we got guest speakers from tons of different places, shilling for their own agencies, and I don't want to like give names because you know whatever, but 3 of the officers from the detention center came and talked about you know the detention center and everything, and I don't know, I liked the locality of it, but I also liked how they didn't try to just like shill. A lot of the other guys just talked about like pay and benefits, which is important, you know what I mean, and like hours and things, but they mostly focused on the experience. They brought in different pieces of contraband from the inmates. I mean, it wasn't anything crazy, but they showed us some gang-related, like graffiti on different pieces of clothing and things like that, and talked about interactions with inmates and, sort of a little bit of like the mental health of the job and stuff like that. And so I really appreciated that sort of more real aspect of it. And so that's why I kind of initially just went with Carroll County Sheriff's Office, because
That's cool, because one of the questions I was going to ask you was what was the recruiting tool used
yeah,
to get you? And it was us going to the
Interaction.
tech school.
yeah,
Which is really cool.
That's
It was
cool.
great.
I think that matters.
It's cool that it works.
honestly. Like way more than like a billboard or an ad.
Oh,
'cause
yeah.
You can't
Yeah.
get that kind of communication from an ad.
We also had an SRO there who was great. Again, I mean, I want to name drop him because he was an awesome guy, but I don't want to just for,
Shout out to the awesome guy.
Yeah.
He was an awesome guy.
Well, I mean, I don't know about like, podcast stuff and
We lost audio.
What?
podcast
Are
cut.
you fucking kidding me?
Is it dead?
Where's the,
Oh man.
Please stand by while we take this short
They can't hear
intermission.
you. They can't hear you.
That can hear me.
Oh, it can? Oh, okay.
In the meantime, Philadelphia Flyers, we would still be interested in any
Yeah.
merchandise you're willing to send us. I wear a
You need
size
it's a picture on
large,
here.
and what size shirt do you wear?
well, I'm like an extra large 2XL.
2XL, extra large. Ben would like it a 2XL, extra large, and a large,
2XL.
specifically just for us.
I'm a large.
Just for us. Oh no. Oh, there we go.
Oh, I got a little cut in.
Hello. Oh my god, the conversation was so good too.
It really was. It really was.
Fuck.
Oh, we're back. And we're back, guys.
There we go.
Hold on. We're not recording.
Oh. A little hot.
And we're good.
Okay, guys, we're back. So we were just testing some things out. We were like, it seems like a good time to just unplug
They
it.
were
So
like, cut his mic.
he's spoken up for the podcast.
Sorry.
Where
Yeah,
were we?
That guy was
Where's my
weird,
dog?
wasn't he?
It was not interesting at all. We're talking about name dropping, I believe.
Yes.
Are we good?
Yeah, we're good now.
Awesome.
Alright. 10-4.
We can keep the video. Just we'll edit the audio.
What is that
Sure.
in?
So, but yeah, great SRO.
And now.
Great SRO who was from the sheriff's office, and he was great. We did these sort of scenario days where it would be, like we would do traffic stops, we would respond to different, domestics, and it wasn't anything like crazy, but it gave you some perspective. You know what I mean? Initially, it was funny. A lot of people were like really excited because that's what the pictures were on the website. Was like you got the laser vest on, and we got the guns, and we would like go up and be like, let me see your license and insurance, and it was so cool. You know what I mean? Or like we would be going up to a house and trying to, dissolve issues, but as we started doing it, a lot of the students like started hating those days because it was like,
It's an unknown
yeah, I
scenario.
mean, you have no idea what's going to happen. I mean, the people who were, sort of playing in the scenarios were like, trying to be, kind of legit, and human beings are unpredictable, and you got to solve these issues between people, and it's not the most fun every time, you know what I mean? So, we didn't do like cool hostage shootings, it was just, dealing with some annoying dude on a traffic stop, you know, and a lot of people just started to not like it. It's kind of funny that, you know, that's just how that worked out, but
That's 99
Right, I mean, but-
percent of the job.
exactly.
Communication.
Right, and so it really, you know, was good at weeding out the people who were there for, you know, like I said, you know, purpose and reasons, and the ones who watched like NCIS was like, that's literally me, bro. Which is fine, totally fine, that's cool. If that's where your motivation is, you know, and if that's where you start and you get a bit of a reality check and you're still in for it, that's awesome. You know what I mean? But I don't know. It was definitely a very good program. So that helped a lot for me personally.
So when you first walked in, though, what were your thoughts?
Yeah. At first it was.
Because you did a walkthrough, right?
I actually did two. One of them, I think the hiring manager scheduled it. I think there was miscommunication on the day it was scheduled for. So like no one knew I was supposed to be there.
Who is this?
Yeah, I kind of.
That's pretty much like every single tour that comes through.
Yeah,
Nobody has.
Yeah.
There's zero communication sometimes.
I show up and they're like, "What are you here for?" And they're like, "Just give them,
Like,
give
when
them
you
a
see his
tour."
driver's license,
Yeah,
what
like-
is your age?
Yeah, they were like, "What are you like? Walk fine." You know, they eventually
Are you
called
legal?
somebody. I don't know who they called, but you know, they kind of gave the go ahead, so I got to sort of walk around, and you know, which in and of itself kind of felt like even cooler. You know what I mean? Like, you know, peek behind the curtain, not supposed to be here. You know, kind of thing. But you know, it was cool. It was something that I've never kind of seen before. That kind of environment. I didn't know how I was going to react. Really, it wasn't like a overt fear. I guess you could, you know, call it sort of an anxiety, but just about how I would react, how I would put myself off to inmates who I knew, you know, could potentially try to do something, you know, manipulate or, you know, whatever. But to be honest, I mean, like I said, most of them, honestly, are kind of chill. At least where we're at. You know what I mean? So it wasn't that big of a deal. And starting in, you get to sort of see the behaviors of the ones who try to get one over on you and manipulate you. And honestly, most of them, they'll try in the beginning. Like when I started, I got a lot of it. You know what I mean? But as I went in the weeks and months, you know, getting into it and learning how to deal with it and just talk to them and be like, you know, not let it bother me, a lot of them just stopped because it wasn't benefiting them anymore. So,
Yeah. I mean, you come in, you look the way you do.
yeah.
I mean, you look young.
Oh, I am
You
young.
don't
That's,
look
that's,
old. I
that's
mean,
the
the
thing.
beard really helps you.
Yeah.
Some guys, I mean, come in that are 20, 21 that look like they're 35. But yeah, I mean, you look young. I mean, we got other officers that come through that look young too.
Mhm.
And
You're just an easy target.
Yeah.
yeah, that's. But for a lot of them that did come in, that looked young, and got bullied by the inmate population, you can't let that shit bother you.
Yeah.
And you've definitely, what I've noticed, you don't let anything bother you,
I try not to.
which is
I
He
honestly.
goes
shows.
home and screams into his
Yeah,
pillow
right.
every
do what you
morning.
gotta do.
No, I mean, and I think one of the benefits was that I kind of just embraced it. I mean, at first it was like I didn't know how to respond to it. You know what I mean? Because a lot of them would be like, oh, you know, where are you, like 12? Like, come in here, whatever.
It's an authority thing. So like they'll look
Right.
at you and say, you know, fuck is this kid? He's 12,
Yeah, I mean,
12 years old.
most of the dudes in there, well,
I'm
I
sure,
mean,
shit. As a female,
yeah.
you get probably the same thing.
Get all the angles of shit.
Yeah.
You just learn to deal. You have to hold your own.
It is definitely kind of a weird experience because, like, I mean, I legitimately think right now every single inmate there is older than me. Like, and many of them by years and even decades. And so it's like, you know, obviously growing up, you're like, respect your elders, all that stuff, and you're like, who the heck am I to tell this dude who's not only just way older than me and has years of real life experience, but honestly a lot of years of experience in the system. Like, they probably know a lot of, you know, the rules and what goes on in the jail, and initially a lot of them knew more than I did, you know, what my job and responsibilities were, you know what I mean? And there were some of them who legitimately were like, hey man, like, you know, you should probably do it this way next time. You know what I mean? I would just be there and like, that makes sense.
But you take the punches and you roll with them.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
that's what makes you the good deputy that you are.
You just have to embrace it. Like, you know, if a dude's like, oh man, you know, what are you, 12 or something? I'm like, nah, dude, like 13, but it's okay. You know, it's like,
And a hat.
and they can't do anything. They're like, oh crap, he's funny. Like, okay. You know, I don't know, but, and it doesn't work for everybody, you know. You know, there's still going to be people who, and that doesn't mean you let your guard down ever. I mean, to expect words to sort of solve everything, you know, isn't a good practice, but it'll definitely get you a lot of the way there. So, you know.
There's always that
One that was-
unknown.
One that was really good with that, the same as you, well, I'll name drop, was Corporal Parks.
Yeah.
I mean, really good. I mean, same thing. You know, they got something, he'd have something, you know, something real
Right
quick,
back.
right back.
Mm-hmm.
And
The
they're like,
wit.
oh, well, shit. Okay. Well, now I have nothing.
Yeah, and I'd like to feel that you know, especially on the age stuff. I mean, I remember this dude, like, and this was a couple months after I'd kind of started coming in, so I got more comfortable, like, talking to them, you know, in less of a, like, super formal kind of way. Like, initially, you want to be very careful with what you say, because you don't know, like, what you can kind of, I don't want to say
There's a very
get
fine
away
line.
with talking, but yeah, I mean, at some point, like, again, human service, these are human beings. You can't just treat them like robots and like, yes, sir, I am here to help. Like, no, you know what I mean? Like, human beings bullshit, you know? Like, and some of these dudes, like, in order to establish good rapport with them, like, you know, you gotta bullshit with them sometimes. And this dude,
Be yourself, like, be a human.
yeah, I
really.
mean, you know, still a young dude, so I got, you know, acne and stuff on my face sometimes, and I was walking through and I was leaving the unit, and what this guy say? He was like, oh, what's that shit all over your face, man? I was like, don't worry, dude, once you go through puberty, you know, it'll happen to you too, it's alright, man. And the way he looked at me, he was like, okay. He just
Yeah.
paused and he started
Yeah.
laughing, and I was like, all right, see ya, bro. And like, never been a problem since. I mean, you know, it's just how you talk to people is very, very important.
Yeah, I probably would have said something way more vulgar.
Probably.
That'll come with age.
Yeah.
That'll come with age
Yeah.
and life experience. You are definitely very, very different than your generation. I mean, you were like
I'd like
an
to hope
older
not.
soul in a younger.
I'd like to hope
Body.
not. I mean, I knew a lot of dudes, you know, in high school who were far less emotionally and maturely developed than I was, but I also knew a lot of dudes who were far more mature and emotionally mature than I was. So I don't know. You know, I'm hoping a lot of those dudes are kind of going into fields that they kind of need to be in, you know, for us as a general society to thrive and prosper. And, you know, I think a lot of Gen Z at this point, I mean, we're in like early 20s, I think. So a lot of us haven't really been able to, you know, sort of stretch our legs into, you know, more important positions within different, you know, decision-making roles. So, you know, especially in, well, you know, politics, not to get into that, of course, but, you know, so I don't know. I guess we'll see. It's still kind of a waiting game, but I think that Gen Z has problems, but it's just like any human generation. I mean, you know, millennials certainly have problems. Gen X had their problems. You know, boomers definitely had their problems. So
Everything changes.
I don't really want to dog on the greatest generation because they kind of dealt with a lot of stuff. But you know, all of them after that. I just think it's a lot of blame that goes around with the generational stuff, and a lot of it is probably deserved. I mean, that's more of a cultural thing than explicitly a generational thing. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. I don't know.
I get it. Next question. You ready?
I hope so. Depends on what it is, I guess.
What has been your craziest experience in the jail so far?
Craziest experience in the jail so far.
Still so fresh.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't really know. I mean, I think probably the craziest, and unfortunately, it's not like a cool, like, you know, paranormal story. This one female was having trouble with her breathing, or she was having, she was like kept shaking or something, and she let the officer know. And they had talked to medical, or something happened, and well, eventually she ended up passing out, falling over, and going into a seizure. And I was there in medical when we transported her. You know, she finally gained consciousness again, broke out of the seizure, and she was in medical, but it was a pretty bad one. Her breathing was real rough, and she started to seize up again. And it wasn't any kind of seizure I've seen before, like, you know, a lot of the ones, they kind of, you know, they shake and then you're able to hold them and for a little bit and they'll be all right. But just because of like the way she was breathing, and she wasn't like moving violently, she just got stiff and just stopped. Like,
It's an initial shock of something different.
right, I mean, you just hear this like, and I'm like, am I witnessing something like really bad right now? Like, I was not prepared for this. Like, what? And thankfully, I mean, the nurse, she sort of used her knuckle and rubbed on her chest. That's the first time I've seen that. And she kind of,
Sternum rub. For
yeah.
anyone that isn't aware of what the terminology is for that.
She came back too, thankfully. I mean, holy crap. But like, just the way that seeing her, you know, that, and the nurse, you know, asked her questions and whatever, and, you know, just the way she would say, like, yeah, it's painful, like, she was tensing up, she couldn't move, her breathing was bad. It was something I've never seen before. I mean, it was crazy. So,
And then you just went about the rest of your shift.
yeah, I mean, you know, thankfully nothing. I thought for sure we would have to, like, send her out. You know, for a half second, I was like, I just saw someone die. Like, this is how everybody describes it, you know, there's like, but thankfully, I mean, you know, grace of God and everything, she was okay, and she's still okay to this day. But I don't know.
Have
It was
you had
wild.
any paranormal experiences at the jail?
No, and that can go into something different. I mean, obviously, again, like I said, you know, growing up and remaining Roman Catholic, you know, paranormal stuff is a little different for me. I don't know.
Have you had any doors slammed that was unexplained on how they slammed?
No, I mean, one time, like, the elevator, like, didn't close, and I was down there with another officer on the shift, and he was like, that's weird, it didn't close. And then as soon as he said that, it closed, and it was like a long time after it should have closed, you know, so.
Someone was standing there holding it open.
That's all I got, unfortunately, but, you know.
Well, that's okay.
It's okay.
That's fine. Give it time. You'll have one.
This is
Yeah.
only Finding Bebe Part 1.
Oh my gosh.
There will be a Part 2. So, in your 10 months, briefly, what do you think can be done better?
It's an interesting question because I think a lot of it a lot of it depends on, like I said, the human services aspect of it. It's for humans, run by humans, and so it is invariably flawed in, different ways, just as any sort of profession. I would say the big key thing is communication, especially when it comes to sort of potentially chain of command stuff, but it's not really a structural issue. Like I said, it's each person interpersonally, needs to be growing and becoming better versions of themselves. Because at the end of the day, like, human beings are
Active.
right. I mean, they're prone to sort of gossip. They're prone to sort of causing drama out of things that just isn't important at all. I mean, I hear from my parents all the time from like their work, and it's kind of funny how when they talk about like the drama of their jobs, and I don't really be like that guy or whatever, but like the drama that they talk about just doesn't matter at all. The things that they're saying, and the same thing happens like here. It's like,
Sorry, Mom and Dad.
you're making not from my parents, from their coworkers. I mean, that's what I mean by that. They're saying
Good
Good see.
they're saying like these people are saying these things. There's this whatever. It's like, can't you just talk to each other? And it's the same thing here. I mean, making big deal. I mean, at the end of the day, we're trying to serve people. We're trying to keep them safe. And, for a lot of them, just to make their experience with the worst time of their lives, as smooth as possible so that they can learn their lessons and go back out. Unfortunately, that's not how it works for a lot of people, just because of drug addiction and a bunch of different factors like that I'm not smart enough to get into. But for a lot of them, that's what it is. And we shouldn't be sort of so, wrapped up in very humanly conflict that we sort of get wrapped up in with, different rank structures or, I don't know, drama between what people said about who and how they like doing things. I mean, but it's going to happen. So it's,
Such is life.
right. So it's hard to really say like what can be done better structurally, because I mean, at the end of the day, we're all human beings, so it's going to be flawed. But I also think that because it's predicated on human beings, that it can also improve and grow in ways that we don't even know yet. You know what I mean? Just innovations are around the corner, hopefully. I mean,
Working from a different facility and then working in this one, this is definitely very different. It's definitely more like a family. Family comes with emotion, but it is a great place to be.
Right.
Overall. It's like a great place of work to be in.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, of course, I say like the drama, but like I said, the drama and stuff isn't a part of it. Like, it isn't a huge part of it at all, to be honest with you. That's where I kind of find the trouble with answering the question, is because, like,
Well, let me ask you this. When you started to now, who do you like more? Me or Andrews?
Yeah, that's a very dramatic question. I don't know. I refuse I accept the de-escalation tactic, and
That doesn't answer my
say
question.
that both of you
I would really like an answer,
are
specifically.
equally as good officers. So
He told me before we got here that he liked me more, so.
I want to say for the record that is false. It's not true.
Custody.
Don't believe the lies.
What has been your funniest experience so far?
Funniest experience.
Other than that. Who's cool?
Well, which
Just the.
Answer first. Who's cool?
who's cooler?
Yeah, me. Say it.
How would you define
Maybe.
cool?
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Like,
He's gonna avoid. He's avoiding as much as possible.
What's been the funniest experience?
I don't know. Honestly, I mean, there's been plenty of I guess, funny experiences. At the end of the day, like, how you get through a lot of the stuff is just humor. You know what I mean? Which is great. What was really fun was when we had the newer guy to me come on, and he was up on buttons, essentially having the responsibility of opening all the doors when we called them over the radio in the control room, and we just ran all around the facility in the middle of the night, just calling doors left and right, some that didn't even exist. It would, just to kind of fluster them a
And
little
pool
bit.
lights on.
Yeah, right. So,
What the fuck?
yeah, that was pretty.
Get the
It's
Door
on the roof, you idiot!
door 1, 2, 3, 4. Open
What?
that door. Yeah, I don't know. It's that was pretty funny, I would say, but I think we also pushed a couple red buttons during that, didn't we?
Yeah,
I think we did.
we always do that. That's for, I mean,
emergency buttons, yeah.
that's just a stress test to
Yeah,
kind
of course.
see where you're at
Mm-hmm.
and see if,
Yeah.
like, how you panic and how you overcome.
Yeah.
So, like, post one will play music really loud, or he'll
Yeah,
call
that's happened to
you
me.
from a different phone, so that your phone is ringing the same time the radio is going off, and then you can still have the radio going loud and all this extra background noise.
Yeah,
on
I
top
had,
of everything else.
I was up on buttons one morning, and it was like breakfast was going on. People were coming in, so I had to log them coming in, and you had to do the court paperwork stuff, and in the middle of all of it, like I forget who was post one, but they were like had music blasting, and then the captain calls me like on the post phone, and of course I'm like, oh well, I gotta answer it. He's like asking me all these questions like, oh, what would be a reason you would lock someone for a 24-hour lock? Like, I know what you're doing here. But of course, I had to play along, so. But it was fun. I think I passed. I don't know. I guess I'm still here, so.
Well, do you have any more questions for Van? We can make this into a part 2.
I was just gonna say, what's next for you? Are you thinking about staying in corrections, or do you want to go a little bit further and maybe see what the police side is
Don't leave us.
The original plan was always for road police, and obviously you get the sort of thoughts in your head about canine or SWAT, cool dude stuff like that, and that's still certainly on the table, but potentially, but I never thought about coming into a job like this, and I'm not as burnt out as I kind of initially thought I would be. So I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things where some days and nights I'm like, when I hit 21, you know what I mean? I'm going to that road academy, but I don't know if there's that that sort of tight-knit sort of community aspect. Not that there isn't at all, but I mean, when we're in the same building together, it's different from being out on patrol on the road. I'm sure. So
You spend so much time
Yeah.
with the people you work with.
Mhm. So I don't know. There's still options out there, but and of course, I mean, it's one of those things that if I do go on the road, I can still do overtime at the jail. So
I'm gonna act like I don't know you.
I wouldn't be gone
Yeah.
forever. I wouldn't be gone forever.
You're dead to me if you leave.
I don't know who he is.
So
We will delete this episode if you do. So,
well,
and hopefully by then will be blown out of the waters of popularity. One day we will be. Dreams.
But I could say, for me so far, I think I'll redeem your parents since you were dogging on them earlier. I think they did a good job in raising you.
Yeah, I think so.
Absolutely.
I think so. Yeah.
Because, I mean, when I grew up, maybe it was just the people I hung around, but stuff you're talking about was like the last thing on my mind.
Yeah. I mean, it's
I wasn't thinking about college. I wasn't thinking about any of that until I was like, way down the road.
it was definitely, I guess a privilege for me. I know that word is kind of thrown around a lot, but it definitely was a privilege and a blessing for me to have the parents that I do who, didn't go through, divorces or, had, huge problems between themselves or in how they raised us, and, parents who really cared. So if you're watching, thanks guys. So
Yeah, thanks guys.
yeah.
Did a good job.
Pretty great kid.
Hey mom. Hey dad. Thank you. So, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I guess I owe a lot to that, and I owe a lot to just the experience that I had in general. I mean, we didn't even get into this, but from like 8 to 11 years old, I was in the Young Marines program in Carroll County, which isn't a thing anymore, but that helped shape me a lot, even though at the time, I was still some stupid, snot-nosed little kid who didn't realize, what kind of lessons I was being taught. But later on, that kind of helped me to realize a lot of things about responsibility and not being afraid of doing hard work and doing volunteer stuff. I mean, I would do volunteer stuff at my school and church like all the time. And at first it was sort of voluntold by parents and stuff, but that's part of the great raising, that eventually I just started to actually really enjoy it, because I saw the value in it. And so I don't know, I think parents need to be tough on their kids, not shy away from smacking them silly sometimes.
I think you're a
We don't
45-year-old.
condone anything that you just said. That will be 100% edited out.
It's true, don't deny it.
Alrighty, guys.
I don't have anything else.
Well, thanks for joining us, Bang.
Of course, honestly, I'm honored that you guys wanted me on, because so far the dudes that have been on here have had years of experience and awesome stories and crazy stuff like that. And
We want perspective.
We want the rookie
Yeah,
We want
experience.
the rookie experience and perspective, and then down the road,
Yeah,
see where you're at and what your thoughts are then.
Yeah. So yeah, we could
Appreciate
definitely
you.
do it again.
awesome.
Alrighty, guys, so that wraps up episode 4. Yeah, episode
Yes.
4. So, just remember, reach out to us if you are interested in being on the podcast. We are so open to hearing anyone's experience. It doesn't have to be specifically law enforcement, just any type of human service experience we want to know. Obviously, if you have any paranormal experiences, we're still interested in hearing that as well. Like he said, contact us on our Facebook, send us an email. Definitely follow our Spotify account and our TikToks, and give us any ideas that you're interested in listening to our upcoming episodes.
Yeah, I'm gonna give the email again.
Yes, just one more time, run that down.
Shakedown first responder at proton.me. And we're looking for advertisers too.
That's correct.
So if you're listening and you got a business and you want us to
If you
shout it out,
we are.
maybe, I don't know, the Flyers are starting their opening season on October 11th. I think it's the Canucks.
Yeah, only cool businesses, not lame ones.
Yeah.
So we really don't want him on this podcast. if you're listening, the Philadelphia Flyers. But
I'm
yeah.
a 2XL. Just want to let you know.
2XL and a large.
Future.
Just so you're aware. But anyways, guys, this is the Shakedown First Responder Podcast. Remember, stay safe.
Stay creepy. Any views or opinions expressed in interviews or commentary are those of the individuals and do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the Shakedown First Responder Podcast or its affiliates or employees. So, viewer and listener discretion is advised. Now that that's out of the way, please check out, like, subscribe to our YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, TikTok accounts to help us grow this show. We need first responders out there with a story to tell to come on the show or send in a story that you want us to read. You can do that at Shakedown First Responder at proton.me. That's Shakedown First Responder at proton.me. Enjoy.